get started? There we go. Why don't we get started and people can then join us. So welcome everybody to this special Astro Cafe on March the 20th. I'm going to start this with a little bit of stuff about March the 20th. So I'm going to just see if I can get my screen share here. Do you see that?
We can.
Awesome. Let's see if I can even get it into a proper view. Good. Does that come out okay?
Yep.
Okay, so start with a quick little quiz that everybody should know the answer to because I've already blabbed it. Today, March the 20th at 2:24, what happened?
I know.
Okay,
Randy
go for it. Go. Everybody shake their hands.
The sun,
Okay.
the sun is on the ecliptic right over the equator.
Perfect. And that, what was that called?
The vernal equinox.
Excellent. So interesting. That's very, very, of course, egocentric for us all because the vernal equinox is a northern hemisphere phenomenon, I guess spring here is not spring in the southern hemisphere. So it's always interesting, but we will be talking with a northern hemisphere perspective. So yeah, vernal equinox occurs around March the 20th or 21st. And basis of both the equinox and the solstice is that the Earth is orbiting the sun on a roughly 23-degree angle, so that the sun shines directly on different parts of the Earth at different times. When it hits its most southernmost area where the sun strikes the Earth, we have the December, or for us, the winter solstice. And alternatively, the same thing happens 6 months later in June, where we have the June solstice, or for us, the summer solstice. But the sun, or the Earth rather, does orbit the sun completely. So another way to look at it is that the solstices occur when the axial tilt of the Earth aligns with the sun. Conversely, 90 degrees around from those, the equinox occurs when the axial tilt is perpendicular to the line connecting the Earth to the sun. Those are just, arbitrary ways of saying that the sun shines at different places on the Earth, and when it shines at the equator, we get the equinox. Another way of looking at it, which probably is more academically correct, is to look at the two important planes, one plane being the ecliptic, which is the plane that the planets orbit in, or alternatively, that the sun is seen to orbit the Earth in. And the second plane is the celestial equator, which is the projection out from the Earth's equator to help form the celestial sphere that we use as our coordinate system. So the orbits occur, and twice a year, the celestial equator intersects with the ecliptic, excuse me. And at that point, at the intersection point, we have both the equinox, the autumnal equinox or the vernal equinox. The symbol of the vernal equinox has often been this symbol, which is a horn, ram's horn or sheep's horn. And the story for that goes back about 5,000 years. The Babylonians were the first to really look at the constellations and name them. And they divided the sky into 12 equal parts and identified those 12 equal areas where there was a specific asterisk or group of stars that formed a constellation. And the constellations were named various things, but they were important for the sun being found in each of the 12 sections of the sky at the 12 equal parts of the Babylonian year. They actually took it very seriously, and they thought that they'd found something profound. So they actually entered a sort of astromedicine also. So if, for example, you were injured when, let's say, Taurus was ascendant in the sun, you'd be treated with bull blood or bull fat. Alternatively, if Leo was ascendant, your injury would be treated with lion's blood or lion fat. I'm not sure how effective that turned out to be, but they were pretty excited by the profound nature of what they found. The actual naming of the constellations waited until Ptolemy, about 200 BC. He was in Greece. He fixed the names of the constellations as we know them now, and certainly the constellations of the zodiac. For him also, there was one of the signs of the zodiac was ascendant in each of the months of the year, and they became associated with those months. Aries, or the ram, became associated with the vernal equinox, and that was because Aries was seen to be ascendant, or the sun was seen to be ascendant in Aries when the vernal equinox occurred, and hence the symbol of the ram became associated with the vernal equinox. For Ptolemy, there was a time that the sun was ascendant in each of the 12 constellations that we now associate with the signs of the zodiac. This just gives them and gives the dates that the sun becomes ascendant in those constellations. The other, of course, important thing that came from the vernal equinox is that we use that as the basis for our coordinate system. So the vernal equinox is associated with declination, or the point at which the sun actually defines the vernal equinox. Gives a declination of 0 and a right ascension of 0. And that's the basis of the coordinate system. But of course, it's not that simple. So to the frustration of the astrologers, in fact, the Earth does wobble, called precision. And because of that wobble, the vernal equinox now occurs in Pisces, not in Aries. And more importantly, for a coordinate system, the coordinate system itself changes. So we're currently in the epoch defined as occurring January the 1st in the year 2000 at 1200 Universal Time. And that's become the basis for the current epoch. The epochs are redefined every 50 years. So in 2050, there will be a change in the coordinate system, and the catalogs and the computer programs will either change or will still refer back to the J2000 epoch, but that will be updated. So that's the story of the equinox. Any points, questions, other pearls that people have about that?
What is Ophiuchus?
Yeah, interesting. There's actually 2 other constellations that are seen to be in the zodiac now, Ophiuchus and Cetus. They're not considered classic signs of the zodiac, but certainly the sun is seen to pass through them.
They also didn't like 13. The number 13, so they took Ophiuchus out of there.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
I'd like to add just a bit of depth to the first constellations. It was what we call Capricornus. It was Sumerian, and about 5000 BC, the Babylonian constellations were later, and it was a Magur boat. That triangle was seen as a boat, which is Sumerians. And of course, all the people of the Fertile Valley were moved up and down the Euphrates, Tigris and Euphrates rivers by boat. used, and it only later became called the goat boat or the goat fish or the goat this or the goat that. And that the goat part probably relates to the wild boar that occupied the mouth of the great rivers, which is a big forested area. The wild boar were both worshipped and hunted, of course, and often were transported at the bow of the little boat, that triangle that we see as Capricorn. Just to give the Sumerians their due as to having really started this, and unfortunately, the record only something like 10% of the cuneiform texts that have been discovered have actually been translated. So who knows what other delectable items are in there. It'll be interesting to find out if any cuneiform experts. I wanted to start learning cuneiform as another language to see what was in there. Nice, so interesting. Oh.
I had also understood that the spring was so important that the vernal equinox for some period of time, and certainly in Babylonian times, was or taken to be the beginning of the year rather than January. And I think the January start, I think, was more of a Greco-Roman addition. Any other comments about equinox and the solstice? Then Lauri, I'm going to turn this over to you. Lauri has some things to say about Astronomy Day.
There we go. Hi, everybody. I wanted to, I'm speaking for David and myself, who are kind of doing a little bit of leading of the International Astronomy today, this year. David is consumed with doing his courses, and he's got a great big project due, I think tomorrow. So he said he's doing that instead. So hopefully I will be able to give you some information. So this year, as I think I mentioned last week, if you were here, was that the International Astronomy Day is going to be held for the RASC on Sunday, April the 30th in 2023 at the Bob Wright, in the Bob Wright building lobby at UVic. There is free parking all day in the lot number 1, which is just kind of on the other side of the road from the Bob Wright building. So that's just great. We don't have to pay for any parking. And we actually are going to, we're going to be given a little bit of time on this Saturday afternoon that we can go in and actually do a little bit of setting up. However, it's going to be a little bit easier in some way this year, in that there is the Times Colonist 10K is on in the morning downtown. So there's going to be 15 to 20,000 people downtown and doing all their running. And I know that there's going to be a few people that are doing that within our group and also working in our group. I think Chris Peirce, you said that you were actually going to be doing some work down in with some of the radio contacting. And so what we are going to do is actually change the timing this year to start at 11 o'clock in the morning and go until 4. So it's still just the 5 hours of time, but we'll start at 11, and that will make it so that anybody that is doing any of the work downtown earlier we'll be able to kind of finish that, because it should be finished fairly early. I think they go off at 8 o'clock, and that we should be able to have a decent time to start at 11 rather than 10. And it just means we do have some of us that aren't running in the 10K. We'll have a little bit of more time in the morning at the university to get things organized. So that's kind of where it is and when it is and the timing. So I'm going to just share my screen here for a minute if I can. I hope that this will work. Yeah, there we go. And I just wanted to show you what we have done already in preparing for the day. David and I were really just wanting to get the leads and get the main people that were going to be involved with looking after the different sections. And then we're going to be giving a full letter out to all the leads about all the things that they need to make sure that will have to be done. And then people will be given a chance to volunteer in some of the different areas. But please, if you are going to be able to be there on April the 30th, and we really hope that everybody that is going to be in town will come out if they can to at least part of the day. We'll be able to help. And if you've got any place that you would like to work or something for like one of the shifts, please just throw that in the chat and we'll keep track of that. So over on the table that I've got there, you'll see Sam Fielder is a master's student at the university and has been doing quite a lot of work with us up at the center and is well known to some of the people for the work that he does. And because he is there, he's going to become our UVic site manager for this. So we need to have a person on site that kind of knows the building a little bit better. And he's also going to be the person that once we know how many tables and chairs and what power requirements and everything we have, he'll be able to look after all of that for us. David Lee is going to take over the technical aspects. So he will be working in our lecture room. He'll make sure that everything is set up for the lectures, and anybody that's having any difficulty at getting monitors started or computers on or anything like that, he'll be the person that will be doing that. Thank you, Margie Welshframe. You have said that you would look after the welcome table. And I think, Margie, you'll be probably needing more volunteers than some of the other groups. So if you would like to work at the welcome table, so that you're just simply saying hi to people as they come in, making sure that all the volunteers have name tags, giving out lots of information, showing resources, making sure that everybody knows where they're going, all of that kind of thing. So it's going to be Margie that will be looking after that. Bill Weir is going to do our telescope show and tell. So inside the building, we will have a number of telescopes that will be put up. Bill, are you on tonight? Are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Anything more that you want to say about what needs to be done there?
No, I have everything.
Oh, well, there you go. So, okay. So if you'd like to come and help Bill show off telescopes and talk a little bit about all the different kinds, then Bill is your man. Astrophotography, Brock Johnston has agreed to lead that, and Dan Posey will also help with that. We always have just such a fabulous display of astrophotography at the at Astronomy Day, and I'm going to let them kind of work. If anybody else would like to work with that, please ask either Brock or Dan, and they will get you in on that. The children's astrocrafts table is going to be done by Rachel and Ryan Holmes. Rachel is a fabulous lady, and Ryan is a lovely young lady who has worked up at the center for quite a lot of some of our FDAO Saturday nights. And they're just terrific. They've got lots of good ideas, and they'll look after all the things that are going to be happening at the tables. And we'll make sure that that as we did last year at the museum, is that the tables for the children and the science venture tables are really kind of front and center and in the middle, so that parents can kind of keep track of what the kids are doing, and also that they're right there. We don't want them to be kind of too far out of the main section. Responsible lighting table, Dave Robinson said he will lead that. And Dorothy, I'm hoping that you will be happy to help with Dave there, and any other
Yeah.
people who would like to join in with David and Dorothy to kind of help with a shift. That would be wonderful.
Could I
Um,
just add,
yeah.
Lauri, something?
Yeah.
It's,
Yes.
the title is a little bit, is only part of the story. The whole display is on the electromagnetic spectrum, and there's a lot of information about space, planet Earth, light, more than just electric lights and what we're doing to the planet. So it would be nice if Dave and I had a few other people who became familiar with it and could come by. So anyone who's there, it doesn't know it, please come by and find out what's there and think about helping out at other venues when this display is up.
Would you like me to call it, Dave and Dorothy?
Sorry?
What would you like me to call that rather than responsible lighting?
And
I
does it
suggest leave it
sound
there for
silly
now.
to say electromagnetic spectrum? The whole back side of that
No.
holding display is as electromagnetic spectrum in the titles, and the history of the study of it is current, pretty much up to date, because I updated it for last summer, space exploration, and it would be very welcome to have some other people, also new people, come in with new ideas about how to use this. It's a magnificent, this folding display panel that Sid got some years ago, and I think we could make even better use of it, although we've certainly been using it regularly since he got it. So,
Okay.
so do come by and at least look at it, everybody who's there.
Thank you. Okay. So last year we had and for other years in the museum, we had a place where we could kind of put up Starry Night or something using a big monitor that the museum had. Like it was a big kind of 4-foot screen that they had. We're not going to be able to have that at the Bob Wright this year. There isn't that facility. So I'm not sure whether anybody's got any ideas of how to show maybe a little bit of something like Stellarium or Starry Night or something on a bigger monitor of some kind. If anybody's got some ideas, that would be wonderful. People always really like that. If we could come up with something. Solar observing at the front of the museum, Alex Schmidt is going to be taking that lead with some help from Sid Sidhu, and anybody. We just love to have people out who have got their own solar telescopes that can bring them on the day. Alex, are you in on the call tonight?
I don't believe he is.
Okay,
I
because
was
Alex. Yeah,
Can I
go
say,
ahead.
Lauri, I was going to say too, don't
Yeah.
forget, we should make a note that Jim Hesser told us there's a Victoria Symphony concert on campus that afternoon. So if there's enough people,
Yes.
we could maybe have a splinter group over by the Jamie Castle Center as well.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? Yeah.
And I believe
have
there was
a-
also talk of having some people on the roof too, but I'm not sure
Yes,
if we have
and that-
enough people for that.
Yeah, well, I think we're getting some of the students from UVic to be helping with some of that as well. So we don't have to be totally responsible for it completely.
But that's what I was proposing to participate in, so I'm not available to help set up.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so we'll need, but so any of you that have got your own solar telescopes and can help to bring it, or we also have got 3 of the projector type, the simpler projector type instruments that are very easy to use and to show people. And if it's lovely and sunny, that's really great for the kids that you don't really want terribly much around the solar telescopes as much. The projector units are really good. And Alex will be calling people to kind of be part of that for sure, because we'll need those. And that will be outside. So so if it's absolutely miserable weather, then that will not be taking part in that part. Ask an astronomer. We don't have a person yet who is looking after that. We just need some people, maybe a person who could get maybe 3 or 4 people over the time to sit in and act as leading astronomers and can answer questions of the group. People last year that was actually taken over by some of the UVic students, and it's really great to be able to get students in that place. Anyway, we do need a lead for Ask an Astronomer. If anybody would like to take that on, it would be just a few phone calls and then just making sure the schedule is set up. I'm looking after the speakers in the Bob Wright. Right now, I have got 3 set up, and I'm hoping for I'd like a total of 6, so that each of the speaking sessions are only going to be half an hour long. Actually, only about 20 to 25 minutes long, with a 5-minute time for discussion, and then a little bit of time in between to have some space for people to leave and then get set up again. So they're not going to be long talks. These are all going to be kind of short ones, and we're going to get in touch with some of you, because I know that there is a fabulous group of people here who might be able to give just a short presentation on something that is a passion for them that they would like to talk about. And we also have got some people from the HAA who are also going to speak. James DeFrancesco and Dennis Crabtree are going to be putting up an NRC table this year. Last year they could not do it because it was interfering with I believe some Casca programming, and it was difficult for them, but they're going to try this year. Victoria High School, Jonathan Guillen, who is the teacher there, has agreed to come back. He's got a great program there and is going to bring some of his students. We still are trying to get a hold of a lead for the UVic students themselves, and we need to kind of work on that. Science Venture is going to come back, which is a group of students that does children's programming, and they're really always really fun to have in the mix. Camosun College, we need to get James Nemec. Now, James usually really enjoys bringing his students in to do some of the outdoor solar observing in the front. So that's what I may get Alex to kind of talk to James as well. And then we'll ask Shawnigan Lake, the students to come back with Nigel Hayes. And then we have both Oak Bay and Mount Doug have got astronomy clubs this year, as well as Vic High. And so Evan Warburton and Nathan Hellner are going to be are 2 people that are kind of working on those with those students, and we would just love to have them come and set up a table with some students from there so that they can show off what they're doing. We hope to have the tour of the Bob Wright telescope with some of the students. We still again are having need to get some connection there. Karun Thanjavar, who is our connection with UVic, actually just had surgery a week ago, and so is kind of out for a little bit, and so we're going to try to get him back, but he may not be able to do all the work that he did because he's still getting back from surgery. And then we talked last week a little bit about the citizen science, about possibly setting up a table that kind of shows some of the different citizen science programs that are around. And I know that there's a new citizen science group, our SIG, that is starting. So we'll kind of work on that. Now, we are absolutely open to people giving us more suggestions and other ideas for what we can do at the Bob Wright Center in order to have activities or demonstrations or anything else that you think that the public would like to be involved in. And we just throw things in the chat or contact me or contact David Lee, and we'll make sure that we can get this done. So leads that are here tonight, you're going to be getting a letter from us, and then it will outline everything that you will need to know, and then we'll get things, because we now need to get things like how many tables your group will need, how many chairs there might be, and whether you need power requirements, that kind of thing. So we need to kind of work on that pretty quickly. It's 7 weeks away. No, sorry. 5 weeks away. So we need to get ourselves kind of working on this. But what we do need are volunteers. So what we're looking for are in 2 shifts, if we can, is depending on what you are able to do for the day. If we could have someone work from, say, 11 to 1:30, and another group of people work from 1:30 till 4, then that will completely manage the day, and nobody has to do a huge amount at any one time. And if we had 25 people come out to be volunteers, it would go really, really well. So I'm hoping I'll take any questions or comments or anything like that at all. I can stop my share for now.
And Margie has her hand up.
Yeah, I can't see anything here. I'm just going to stop my share so I can see what's going on. Margie.
Hello.
Hi.
2 thoughts. One is that last fall, I put together a list of volunteers. So I have that list. So I can certainly send that list to whomever needs it. Yeah. I don't know whether I probably don't have all of the email addresses of all of the leads, but
I can work with you with that, Margie. We could get that.
All right.
We get that figured
Okay.
out. That's
So
great.
I have that list, and last year I created that list in the fall. I'm wondering if I should reach out to members, as I did through Chris last year, and add people to that list now.
I think it would be fabulous. Yeah. Chris, can we get something out for Margie to ask for more volunteers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Margie
Yeah.
can send a request for more volunteers, because Margie still has a club email address.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. So I can just use it and go ahead and send out
Out to Sky News. Yeah.
Okay.
Get in touch with me if you have any questions.
All right.
Lauri.
Okay, thanks. Yes. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff speaking. Last year, there was also a session at DAO. I guess it was
Yes.
the evening.
Yes.
Are you planning a session either the Sunday or the Saturday prior?
Yes, we're actually planning that for the Saturday, the 29th, which is the actual International Astronomy Day. We're going to be that will be our first full night of star parties. So it will be the 7 to 11 time. That will be our first night really up on the hill, for a real full star party. So we will be asking for the RASC to help with, bringing telescopes and setting up. Obviously, if the weather is good, and we will need to have the welcome table. So I will get a hold of Gay Van Siri in order to kind of get that started. And we would love to have as many people up to help with that as well. But I know that some people, it may be a lot to ask for people to come on both the evening before and the day, but we'd like everybody to be as part of that. So yeah, if that helps. And Jeff, if you've got anything to give to if you've got anything to give to Margie for the welcome table, any, kind of good thoughts and things like that from last year, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get in touch with Margie separately from this.
Yeah.
We need to share that all. Lauri, I was just good just to push the DAO session a
Yes.
little bit further, because people will be strung a little bit thin. Do you think it'd be worthwhile to add that as a line item as part of your spreadsheet, just so that you know that?
Oh, yes.
Or is it a done deal?
Yeah, no, we can definitely do that, and we can be looking at that. I mean, what's most important are people to help with on the deck and in the parking lot, and having the welcome table, and that's the majority of it. We'll open the 16 if it's nice, if we can do that as well. But yeah, that would be a great idea to put that as a line item. I think I will do that for sure. Thank you.
Okay, super.
Yeah.
So Lauri,
Yes. Hi.
do you know if the Friends of the DAO are going to loan out their big solar telescope for astronomy?
Yes, we could. Yes, we can get you that. Yes. Yeah, we'll bring it down to the center. Now it will be up. I don't know whether we'll be using it in the evening, probably not. So maybe we could get, we don't know, Bill, what the security is going to be like on the Saturday night, overnight at the university. Like before when we were at the museum, we could take things down and leave things because there were security guards. I don't know anything about that.
Well,
To
I'm
leave
not bringing any
equipment.
of my stuff the night before.
No, okay. Yeah,
No,
no,
I just meant for the solar observing. Would
yes,
you?
yeah, no,
would
we
it
can
be-
definitely bring it.
Okay, because I was
Yeah.
going to see if I could borrow the big one from Pearson, but if there's already going to be one big one, then
There'll be a good one,
okay.
there. And we have what, 2? Or the RASC has 2?
Something like that, yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Coronado and a Lunt.
And a Lunt. Okay.
And just to comment on that, do not leave anything valuable on the campus, because there is 24 hours a day security, but it's for the whole campus, not for that building, obviously. So
Right. So, but we could have tables up and the chairs ready and things like.
they belong to the university, so that's
Yes.
fine.
So that's okay. So it will be good that we won't start until 11, because that will give us an extra bit of the morning to get things organized and set up. We won't be in such a time crunch.
Yeah.
To get everything.
Because we can get into the building at any time, right? It's
I
an open building.
think so. Yeah, I would think so. Right, Chris? We can probably get in by. Like 9
some of
o'clock or
us
something.
actually have keys to that building. I don't know how many. We had at least 3 fobs for that building from the telescope. So
Yeah.
there may still be
Okay.
some of those around. But
And
yes,
okay. All right. Thank you. I see Margie, Marianne Gervais. Thank you, Marianne. I'll definitely let you know. And Dave Payne, you've responded to Brock. About the astrophotography, is that right?
Sorry, yes, I responded to Brock and also to Margie about if she needs shifts for
Great.
the table.
Yeah.
And I might bring my telescope down, my solar telescope down too. So
Fantastic. Okay, that's great. Thank you. So anybody else, just you can throw things in the chat and we can kind of keep track of all that. Now, the other thing that are there any other questions about Astronomy Day? I just really hope everybody can come down just even for a little while and just and be part of our time. But the other thing that I wanted to ask was the center is going to be open starting next Saturday. We have been given the okay for having an open house at the center for next week from 5 o'clock in the evening till 10 o'clock at night on the Saturday, and then the Sunday will also be open from 11 until 3. And what we're doing is just strictly an open house. So we don't have big, big presentations or anything at all. We don't have guest speakers. This is a shortened tours of the dome, shortened planetarium programs. We just really want people to drop in and say hi. And we've been now closed for another 5.5 months, and we want to open back up again. And so I'm asking or just saying, if any of you are just kind of wandering around and not doing very much next Saturday night or Sunday in the afternoon, we'd certainly love to have your help. If it's really nice on Saturday night, we could put a couple of telescopes out on the deck for people to have a look at. On Sunday, we could see about getting a solar telescope and getting something out if it's nice out as well. So if any of you would like to volunteer for just even a part of the time next Saturday night or Sunday, we would be very happy to do it. This is very quick because we've only been given permission to open, like, as of the kind of about the middle of last week, we were finally given permission to even get started on some of the planning. So it's quite fast, but we just want to open up things so people can get a chance to get back.
Are there restrictions at all on numbers coming up there, Lauri?
Yes, unfortunately, that is still an NRC restriction. So what we're doing for the open house on Saturday and Sunday is actually having people figure out when they want to come, and we've got 2-hour time slots for people to get the Eventbrite tickets. The tickets are free, but they have to register for a certain time. And so we hope that we can do about 100 people per time slot, and the same thing on the afternoon. So on Friday, on the following Saturday night, we probably will be restricted to about 150 to 200 people in total, as we did last year.
And do you advertise this then through the website? How do people know about it, just to make sure it's successful?
Well, our FDAO newsletter is going to be coming out later tonight or tomorrow, and that has all the information in it for all the members. So if you're an FDAO member, you get the newsletter, and you get first crack at knowing when the Eventbrite tickets open up, and then everything will be on Facebook starting probably tomorrow. And again, we're very late in getting any media attention, but we'll do what we can. So yeah. And maybe Joe, could I give you a couple of little bits of things for the open house for this coming week for FDAO? Could you put that on our website just as a little extra?
Well, your best, I think, just to post it on our Facebook page.
Just to do Facebook. Okay. Sure. All right. Any other questions? I'm sorry I've taken up a lot of time and I've yacked. So.
No, that's great.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments regarding
Thank you.
Astronomy Day for Lauri? Okay.
Okay, I'll pass this all on.
Thanks very much, Lauri.
To David. Yeah, pass this all on to David.
Oh, is
news on the VCO?
Are you passing to David virtually or David Payne?
Sorry, I was going to pass the information that I've taken to David Lee.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Randy had wanted some time to
Right. So let me start by saying to Mike Webb, VCO, it's been 3 years that it hasn't been doing very much, other than there's been this core of people who've been working on the equipment. And if I understand what Reg was telling me recently, we're going to be using it a lot more when the road is opened up, but they want to have, the technical committee wants to have a bit of time just to turn the wheels a bit and make sure that things are working. And then there'll be evenings up there scheduled, but also I think he's hoping for more of the, wow, it's clear tonight, let's get up there, impromptu sort of things. And let me just say, way to go, Lauri, and to David Lee. It's a huge amount of work, but this is the premier opportunity of the year where all the various astronomical groups in town are participating together. And it's just super. We really have to support this because this is where we'll get new people interested. It's a very successful, wonderful event. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and share there. And click that and click this. How's that? Okay. So I guess I'll say this is a bit of a mystery, like Reg got to report last time about a mystery. This is about this quite beautiful photograph, and it was taken by Ansel Adams, and the pictures he took later in the career, such as this wonderful one from Yosemite, is well recorded when he took the picture. But for some of the older pictures, he just remembered, oh, I took that around 1935. And in particular, the picture in question, he didn't print up until 1970. He late in his life, he went back to his archives and he reprinted a lot of his pictures. Anyway, this art historian, Kim Bile, wrote this just last week in the New York Times. A friend pointed it to me. I love it. It says 14 minutes read. I spent a lot more than 14 minutes on this. But yeah, over the course of 4 days, she hiked 50 miles and climbed 10,000 feet to report this story. So let's see. She was very interested in this picture because it seemed to break a lot of Ansel Adams' rules. And so she was interested where this was in his development of his art. So one of the things she pointed out is that he hardly ever let an area be so black saturated as in the foreground of this picture. That just wasn't his style. But it's a very distinctive, quite beautiful picture. And so she wanted to know where and when. And so she talked to many people who knew the Sierra Nevada in California, and she got quite a bit of information about where it was likely to be. And so here's San Francisco and Los Angeles, and it's around Elizabeth Pass in Kings Canyon National Park, which is famous for having the oldest trees in the world and the largest trees, and it's supposed to be quite a beautiful place. Has anybody been there in our crowd?
Yep.
How is it, Mike?
Well, back in the geological past, it was pretty impressive when you could just drive in there without having reservations. But yeah, I lived in Los Angeles in the mid-70s, and we managed to get to Kings Canyon, Yosemite, and Bryce, and all those places. So yeah, ho-hum. Sorry.
Oh, that's good.
It's beautiful, but the oldest trees are in the White Mountains.
Sorry, you'll know much better than me, Dorothy.
They're not as tall as, but they're older.
Okay. Anyway, you can see from this Google Earth, it's rugged around there, and you can drive up to this place called Roaring River, and then you got to climb up to here. Anyway, turns out that Ansel Adams many times went out on this thing called the Sierra Club outing, where like 200 people would go for a 3-week hike, and they had cooks and they would set out tables and they had mules to carry the stuff. It was a big, big deal. And Ansel Adams would be out there with his fancy equipment and take beautiful pictures. So once the author of this article found out a bit more about where the picture had to have taken place, then she talked to this fellow, Don Olson, from the University of Texas, who had written lots of books. He calls himself a celestial sleuth, and he works on things like where Van Gogh must have been looking for his paintings, or you know, figuring out historical events based on astronomy. And he's made quite a reputation on this. Anyway, he said that you got to get up there and find exactly the same spot and put your tripod there and take a picture during the day. And you have to take a picture at night so that he could see exactly where the moon was when that picture was taken. So she went and did that. She went on this long hike and with a copy of the photograph, and was able to check it out. So here are the steps. You first of all have to figure out the celestial coordinates of where the moon was. And he was able to do that by looking at where the star field was with respect to the rest of the picture. Then you take a look at all the times that the moon was around that part of the sky. And then you can get rid of the years, you know, if it happened in 2020, was not one of those pictures. You knew that from the title that it was somewhere around 1935. And then this Sierra Club outing went to different places, but so it had to be a year that they were actually in that park. And then you get more detailed. You have to look at the actual shape of the moon and its angle. And that came down to 4 possible dates from the late 20s to the late 30s. And then this I thought was pretty cool. The picture, you know, it's not easy taking a picture like that. As anybody who has taken their cell phone and taken a picture of a beautiful foreground and the moon, you don't get it. You can't actually look and say, oh, that's exactly where these craters are. Either you have a good picture of the moon or you got a good picture of the foreground. But Ansel Adams had a very large frame negative, I'm sure, and had good optics, I imagine. Anyway, what Don Olson was able to do was actually look at how close the craters were to the rim. So that's called the wobble, the libration of the moon. And he got down to, it was taken at 6:47 a.m. on August 6, 1936, which fits all the other documentation available for that. So nice little mystery with a good bit of work to solve it. I was impressed. So let's just close off with the picture. How come I'm not doing it? Come on. There we go. So we all get to stand where Ansel Adams stood with this little project. Let me just add a couple of things about the club. Number 1, we're in our new regime. We have a very compact council, 11 people, but we're going to make a point of doing something which has always been in the books, but we haven't been good at. We're going to advertise our council meetings to everybody. So let me say there will be an email. If I'm a good boy, I will send it out tonight saying that there will be a council meeting on the 28th. Okay, so 27th, a week today, is our social dinner. We're at 40 people. 40 people want to come. I think that's wonderful. There's still space for some more. So tell me, and I'll make sure that we're at the level that it's not too many, but it's going to be at the Moon Underwater, just this side of the Bay Bridge, at 6:30 instead of Astro Cafe next week. Come and be with all the cool people. Then the following day, Tuesday, will be a council meeting, open doors, as I hope they all will be from now on. And the biggest thing that's going to happen is we're going to name all the people responsible for the various committees and activities. But also, as you saw at the AGM, we last year pulled in more money than we spent. And that is not on. We've got things to do. We've got our goals, and we should invest in these activities. So if you have ideas of how to spend money, if you have ideas of how to spend $10,000, that's a whole different thing. But if you have ideas of how you can spend a few hundred to up to a couple of $1,000s, let's talk about it. Okay. So like Dorothy, if you want to redo that poster of electromagnetic radiation, we've got the resources to do that. Okay, so if that's the sort of thing that you want to propose, we're going to be working on a budget. We're going to have a budget this year, and we want to have things to populate it with. That's it for me.
Randy, what time is the meeting on the 28th, the council meeting?
7:30. Thank you. Thank you.
And will you be sending out a Zoom link for people interested?
Zoom link and agenda tonight.
Okay.
I just worked on this talk instead of sending it out before the show. No, it'll be out tonight.
Okay, super. Thank you very much. Anything else, Randy, that you wanted to say?
Oh, any questions? And if not, that's fine.
Okay, seeing none, Dorothy wanted to say a few words.
Yeah, we can spend some money on before April 16th, we have the Vancouver Island Regional Science Fair, which prior to the COVID, we supported and gave prizes and provide a bookmark to all participants. And this will be the first time it's back in person. It's a small event this year, April 16th. Be about 100 projects, 150 students participating. And this is a call for specialty judges. There have been, that is for judging, pulling out exciting, interesting kids posters and projects that are worthy of any aspect of science that's of interest to RASC, which is pretty broad when you think of it. It's a lot of fun. I've had, I think three other people. I haven't contacted them yet this year. It's been the same, and it would be really nice to have some new people in. It's a couple of hours. I can get a list of all the projects ahead, and we can get some idea of which ones to head on first and have a short meeting together at later on the Sunday afternoon, and let the organizers know our choices for hopefully maybe first, second, third prizes, and a couple of honorable mentions is the best we've had so far. So you don't have to register to be a specialty judge. You do if you would like to judge, and judging is a lot of fun. I've done it in the past. I won't be doing it this year. But if you just Google Vancouver Island Regional Science Fair, and you'll find the link and all the information about specialty judges. they organizers asked that specialty judges let them know our names ahead of time. I could send a list in, or you could send it directly. Their emails are all on the site. So do think about it. And if you're curious or would like to know more about what it's like, just let me know. I don't want to spend more time now, but I don't know how the support has happened in before. Don't know if Lauri, if you know, or Randy, but there's a way. It's not a lot of money, but it's something that's very worthwhile to get some really young new blood people interested in science, astronomy, and other areas of science. So that's my spiel.
We'll have no problem supporting that.
What day is it, Dorothy?
April 16th, Sunday. The judging, first round judging happens in the morning, and then there's a second round judging. And if you have the time, it's a lot of fun to do. I don't have the energy for the whole day, and plus especially judging, which is a lot of fun. So, but this would be a good time to try the specialty judging, see what it's like. And maybe next year go for the full judging, which is really worthwhile. Thanks. Any questions?
Dorothy?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, is there any judging at all on the Monday morning, or is it all on Sunday?
Everything's on the one day now.
It's all on Sunday.
Okay.
It's set up as before, and there'll be the award ceremony on Monday. But judging, everything's finished. All the organizers have to have all the names of everybody, and
Okay.
so,
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, because I put myself down for judging, but thought that the specialty judging was on Monday, which I have a bit more trouble with. So I'll be there on the Sunday, so I can put my name down for that. But it would be really nice to have other people as well. Yes.
What's the website, Dorothy?
Vancouver Island Regional Science Fair. Let's see, I might.
Yeah, I'll put it in the notes. I've got the link.
Okay, I
Okay.
can find it. I used to judge in Calgary, so
Oh, okay. That's good.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. If anyone wants to try it, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good. Any other questions or comments for Dorothy? Thank you, Dorothy. That sounds like it would be fun. Just wondering, the last few days have been, there have been some clear nights over the last week or so. Any photographs that anybody wants to share?
I actually have one. I gotta find it, so if somebody goes ahead, that would be good.
Super. Oh, I'm surprised. It's been actually some nice nights. Has anybody been out, or is it just a time that people haven't been out and doing shots?
I went out one night and it had kind of clouded over, not completely clouded, but really, really filmy. And I couldn't see very much at all. And I went, okay, and went back in. So I missed the night before that was a little bit nicer. So.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen now.
Oh, that's lovely.
So this was near Clover Point where I live, and I cut the moon, and I have lots of pictures which actually show the moon, but none of them actually caught my fancy as much as when it was obscured by the cloud. And that's a ship going on the on the right, it's about a 3-second exposure.
So it's a sunrise,
Sunset, I know, it's a moonrise.
moonrise,
That's
okay.
Just
Reflect-
reflecting, yeah.
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 That's the moonrise.
That's
Anyway.
beautiful, Randy. That's beautiful.
It-
Really
it-
nice.
It was a surprise that it was the picture without the moon that I liked the best.
Yeah.
Interesting. Nice shot, Randy. So, I noticed that they're starting now to advertise for the 2023 RASC General Assembly. I have the information that I'll show this slide, but I'll make sure that this gets posted also. Just share this. I think some individuals, Bill, I think you might have been to the GA last year.
Yep.
Anything positive or negative to say about it? Was it pretty enjoyable?
It was very enjoyable. I really enjoy the gather town part of it, where you can just like be like you're inside a little video game running around like a space where all the other people are that are at the GA and visit with people. The talks were really good too. So it was a good weekend.
You attended virtually?
It only was virtual.
Okay, yeah. You made it sound like it was much more personal. Was there an ability to actually get together with people? Did they have small chat groups?
Well, that's what I mean. So they have this thing where you go into it and it's like you're a little character. So you pick your character and it's laid out like a virtual conference center that has various rooms and there's displays. And so the people's photography displays are up and the award things are up. So it's actually like you're there, but you're in this little virtual world and you can wander around and look for people and find them. And you see all these little characters standing around. And when you get close to them, if you hook up to them, so it kind of like you all link together. And so you're just in a group, like if you see a few people and you walk up to them, then you see all the screens because you have your camera on. So you can see the real person. And then there's all these little figures standing together. So you can chat with people, you can wander around and you can see people all over. It's actually a lot of fun.
It
And
sounds
you
funny,
just,
but it worked.
it works really well.
Interesting.
And you can just move your character around. You have them walk across and go to another part of the room where there's a bunch of people talking. And then you hook up to them and you can see their faces on the screen. And yeah, it's just like in a weird kind of way, like being at it in person.
Interesting. One of my frustrations last year was that they were very, very slow posting the actual speakers. And I see that many of them still are TBD. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see when they get the speakers list up.
Yeah. Can I talk about that?
Of course, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm one of the people that are getting all the speakers. So we're just about totally filled with our two streams of people. We don't have everything up because we don't have things like all the titles and the summaries of all the speakers just right now, and we also don't have absolutely confirmed exactly when each person is going to be speaking. I think Randy, you spoke last year, and I mean, we didn't completely confirm your time until probably about 3 to 4 weeks before. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know it's rather kind of hard to make sure that we've got absolutely everybody. And as soon as we put something up on the screen, then if somebody has to be changed, then everything has to be changed again. So we know that not everybody's there, but we have all our main speakers, and we have about 90% of our speakers that we are going to have already have said that they're going to do it. We just have to make sure that everybody is fitting in to the schedule. So hopefully that will be up. Samantha Jewett was our main person looking after the GA. And of course she left just now about 3 weeks ago. And she's actually coming back as a volunteer to be,
Wow.
to be kind of our main person who's kind of still keeping all of our entire committee together. So it's kind of amazing that that we're still kind of working all on this, but with with people having left the office and some main people having left the office and things like that, we're a little behind, but I really hope everybody will come out. There is a it's a $40 to and 35 40 to cut to
35.
35, thank you, for as members. And I know that online there has been a bit of grumbling about, well, why is it even $5? Like, it should be free if it's virtual. Well, I mean, we still have to get all of the sites, and we still have to have all the behind the scenes websites and all that, and we give honorariums to our speakers, and there still is quite a lot of work involved. So in order for us to be very much on the that what we bring in is what we're going to spend this year with the national, we've had to put up the price a little bit, but you get 3 days worth of programming, and hopefully you'll find it really interesting. So we hope everybody will join in for at least part of the time.
And Lauri, the grumblers are the ones who grumble all the time. They're always the one online who
Yes.
complain about everything. So it's not
Absolutely, yeah.
real. It's not real because they
I know,
only grumble to each other.
Well, yeah, Lauri, I would encourage, the group to get the names posted, when they're able to. It's really helpful.
Yes. Yeah, we should be pretty well ready to go to do that by this next meeting, the Thursday, on Thursday. So we'll see what we can do.
Super.
For
No,
sure.
That's
Yeah, I mean, I
thank you
agree
for
with
that.
you. I mean, we would have loved to have done it 3 months ago, but no, I mean, we're not quite there. So
Anybody from Victoria Center?
I don't think so, but we still have kind of one place. If anybody wants to give a presentation, we'd love it. We probably have got room. Yeah, we're going to be doing the Friday night Plaskett telescope tour, so we will be in the limelight for that Friday night from 7 to 8. So we'll be doing that.
Good.
Brock, did you have a question?
Well, no, I just actually had finally dug up a picture, and Jeff was asking earlier. I was a bit
absolutely.
disorganized.
Okay.
But
there we go.
So just Brock, just hang on for 1 sec. So I have posted the information about the General Assembly in the chat box. Brock, it's all yours.
Oh, okay, sure. This is a bit of a rerun, but you mentioned those clear nights that we had, and last week I think I showed a early version of a Jones-Emberson 1 image that I only had about 3.5 hours on, and I managed to get it all the way up to 17 hours of exposure. So it is considerably better than it was. So let me just share that here. Can you guys see that okay?
Spectacular.
That's a nice picture.
This was a nice planetary nebula that I'd seen, and it wasn't sort of one of the more commonly seen ones, like the Ring Nebula and the Iris or whatever. And there's a few famous ones, and this one was, to me at least, a little unknown. I know Bill knew about it, but I really thought it was quite an interesting appearing planetary nebula. So I just wanted to get as much detail as I could. It's got a very, very blue, you can see right in the center, the remnant left behind there. And, but it's quite a nice object.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Brock, can you tell a little bit more about the formation of this, like the white parts that are kind of going into the middle?
Yeah, it's a hard one to know for sure what's happening. And there's these red bands here, and it kind of goes in. There's possibly some sort of a spinning magnetic field or something. It'd be interesting. There was actually a picture posted of a supernova remnant just the other day on an APOD that was actually an animation over a number of years, and you could actually see swirling. And I wonder if maybe there's actually swirling of some kind going around that spinning white dwarf in the middle, because it's oftentimes when a white dwarf or something forms, all angular momentum is conserved, but it's gone so small that the thing spins at an insane rate. And it's possible that the spinning of that white dwarf is causing some sort of distortion of the way that the gases are expanding. But I'm only speculating. It would be interesting to hear an actual astronomer that knows a trillion times more than me conjecture on it. But that's all I got. But it's certainly it's always, I find these fascinating because there's so much going on when, you know, these things look like kind of a big explosion, but there's the physics of it must be pretty mind-bending when you think about, you know, the fields around something like a white dwarf.
Thanks, Brock.
That's a very nice picture, Brock.
Thanks.
Clayton, I think that you had wanted to say something. Are you gonna pull him into the focus there?
Yeah, I think.
We'll just move you.
Do I need to?
No, just, well, you can, yeah.
Sit right there. Smiling. Beach.
Are you-
I've got
Okay, you're-
quite a bit serving smiles on a smile makeover, but. You know, I'm just gonna-
And everybody there we can.
Okay, I'll try and be brief for everybody. I originally, I think the first Astro Cafe gave a presentation that Vic High has an astronomy deck being built, and I think it's about 80% built now, and it looks really, really beautiful from what I can tell. And I came on board to kind of deal with the significant light pollution in that area. So I wanted to mitigate it with some type of design, and as well, I'll talk about later, but as far as new news goes, we have Chuck Brown, I believe is particle physicist, and he retired from the Fermi Lab, I believe, donated a significant amount of money to buy a 12-inch Go-to flex tube Skywatcher, so that we could collaborate with JJ Cavaliers on the Tino Recon project. So that's really exciting to me. And as well as that, regarding trying to mitigate the extensive light pollution in that area, thanks to the RASC and some of the members suggested that I work with the city, which I honestly thought, yeah, right. But apparently Aaron had a meeting with the city, and they will be installing shields on the streetlights. I was so excited about this. I went to the pub and had a Guinness down there and took pictures of all the lights. And there is one with the shield. And I gotta say, I wasn't too impressed. And I'm thinking that if you were to do a sky survey on it before and after, that it would be within error. Like, I can't with that. There's actually ones, I just came back from the Ross Bay pub too with a Guinness, and there's shields on those lights, and they're so thin I don't even think they're for optics. And anyways, I'll be talking to Dave about this because yeah, it's all downspill anyways, and then those shields are for side spill. So I'm hoping if there's one photon that won't enter an optical tube, I'll be happy. But that's the news from my end.
So do you have any time frame in terms of when?
Yeah, we were hoping that we could join JJ on September, but it looks like, and with any project, they were expecting September, but you get contracts and it's pushed back to January, and no doubt that'll be pushed back, and the budget will rise. But it is being built. I have seen it, so yeah, next year, hopefully, for sure.
I think I've been looking at it, and the times I've been walking around there, and I think certainly the height of the deck will help a bit with the ground stuff, but the sky's still going to be there. So. Yeah. Well, I mean, sky glow. I mean, I can ask God, but can't really do much about that. But the downspill, I mean, that's just, it's, that's for all of us that live underneath this environment where all the light's spilling downwards. But up on the deck, I don't know how much of a difference that'll make, but I can talk to you about that later. Well, it's good that the city's interested anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
It's likely it will, because I did a tour around the school some time back, looking at the lights that are around there, and virtually none of them are shielded.
Yeah.
And although there's actually some HPS left there that have no shielding whatsoever, so there's a lot of uplight. So I think if we can talk to the city about what kind of shielding they're going to do, so that there's no uplight, that will shield the direct light impact on the deck.
Yeah.
You can't do much about the sky glow.
No.
I can't see how there's any
You're not going to do anything.
uplight anyways, because it's got a cover on top, and it's by definition downspill being a street light. It's illuminating the streets, so it's all sides.
some of those spread quite far.
Yeah, I guess diffusion maybe from walls, but I mean,
Well, yeah, you get reflection off of the walls of the building, and you get reflection off the pavement and the ground.
yeah,
So if you can minimize that, that's going to impact on the observatory. More likely what it'll happen, it'll help with the dark adaptation of viewers on the deck.
Yeah.
And if we can get rid of that direct light, that will make a big difference to what you can see, because you'll be better dark adapted when you're looking through the telescopes.
for observing.
And that's why I think it's important too, and hopefully they realize that of what sort of lighting are they going to put around the school itself too. So not just
He's assured me he wants this to be viable for astronomy. My real concern, another concern, is when I went down there, they've got all these festival lights that are radiating,
Yeah, that's in
outwards, and I
section.
Yeah.
and I asked them if the people that are working there, whether they knew when they were turned off, but they didn't know. So those have significant
You probably have to go door to door with those guys and talk to them about what they're using and when the lights are on and when they're
the festival ones like that looks like a communal area for that all of Fernwood.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, whose are they? I
But
guess
you
that's
need
the
to talk
question.
to where are they fed from?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll
That's
just,
the trick.
if I know, I'll just.
And the other thing I was going to say is, thank goodness the kind of the front door of the belfry faces away from the school, because they've got quite a bit of lighting there. But luckily, there's at least a building in the way.
There's
so
one
gonna
high
be
up too.
Yeah.
There's a really bright one high up on the roof.
Those are things.
It sounds like there'll be a lot of challenges there.
Yeah, it's a challenging area because there's actually a set of apartment buildings that are about a block and a half from the school that have lights underneath the balconies of them, but they throw light everywhere. It's like walking into a searchlight when you go down that street. Probably can't do anything about those.
No,
but certainly the ones that are immediately adjacent to the school site, we can maybe talk to.
I think those apartments are run by BC Housing. You might just have.
Well, that's a possibility.
so that
might
it
have
might
it
be doable.
Change
BC government.
Yeah.
And one of the other things, of course, is it's close enough to downtown that the height of downtown is going up too, right? Because all these new buildings are much taller. So there will be more light appearing on the horizon.
Yeah, there's
Whether
not
you
like
want
that area is pretty much blocked off by the school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just worried kind of about the
Where's the
southern,
deck?
northern and east.
Yeah, the decks. And I thought that's what I was saying at the beginning, though, that with the height of the deck off the ground seems to, I think it's gonna help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna just bring this back to the larger group. Is there anything further? Anybody have any comments about the lighting firstly?
The color temperature of the lights is important as well. And the higher color temperatures cause more uplighting and are responsible for a greater part of the sky glow than lower color temperatures. So that's another issue. And it's also, of course, an issue that's related to environmental health, but just straight from astronomy, from sky glow point of view, the reflected light, I mean, as Dave Robinson certainly can give the figures for. I've forgotten. I used to know. I had figures that I showed the percentage of light from an ordinary shielded Cobra type street light that was reflected upwards from, say, road surfaces. It's a lot, and that's what gives us the sky glow.
Perfect.
So it's shielding and color temperature and position of lights, of course.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have anything else that they want to raise this evening? Okay, well, being that it's 8:30, I'll declare this meeting of the Astronomical Society closed then. It's been pleasant to see you all, and just a reminder that the gathering is next week at the Moon Cafe.
Yeah, so this
Moon-
format
Moon-
of being at
Moon,
Astro Cafe will be back in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
And
Absolutely.
I think this is Jeff's last hosting for this particular season. So thank you, Jeff, for being one of the hosts this year.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Use the